Have you ever felt unseen, forgotten, or cast aside? In Genesis 16, we encounter a story of impatience, broken trust, and divine compassion. Abram and Sarai try to take matters into their own hands, but God shows up in the life of someone least expected, proving He is the God who sees. The weight of waiting. Years had passed since God's promise to Abram descendants as numerous as the stars. Yet Sarai remained childless. The ache of unfulfilled hope weighed heavily on her. Sarai's barrenness was not just personal in her culture. It was a deep source of shame. She longed to see God's promise fulfilled, but her faith was strained by the silence of waiting. Sarai's plan. Driven by frustration, Sarai approached Abram with a plan. She urged him to take her Egyptian maidservant Hagar as a wife, so that Sarai might obtain children through her. This was a custom of the time, but it was not God's plan. In her desperation, Sarai sought to achieve through human means what God had promised to accomplish in His way and His time. Abram listened to Sarai and agreed. Hagar became pregnant, and soon the consequences of this choice began to unfold. Rising tension in the household. Once Hagar conceived, the balance shifted. She began to look down on Sarai, who still bore no child. Sarai felt the sting of disrespect and bitterness. She turned to Abram in frustration, blaming him for her humiliation. Abram, unwilling to take responsibility, told Sarai that Hagar was still under her authority. Sarai then dealt harshly with Hagar, so harshly that the young woman fled into the wilderness, desperate and alone. Hagar in the wilderness. Hagar wandered into the desert, carrying not only the weight of her pregnancy, but the pain of rejection. In the barrenness of the wilderness, she seemed forgotten by everyone. Yet it was in this moment of despair that God revealed His compassion. The angel of the Lord appears. By a spring of water in the desert, the angel of the Lord appeared to Hagar. This was no ordinary messenger, it was a divine encounter. The angel called her by name. "Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going?" Stunned, Hagar answered honestly she was running away from her mistress. God's message to Hagar. The angel instructed her to return to Sarai and submit to her, but this was not all. God gave Hagar a promise her descendants would be too numerous to count. Her son would be named Ishmael, meaning God hears, for the Lord had heard her misery. The angel described Ishmael as a man who would live in conflict with others, yet he would endure. The God who sees. In awe of this encounter, Hagar gave a name to the Lord who spoke to her. El Roi, meaning the God who sees me. She exclaimed, "I have now seen the one who sees me." The spring where she met God was marked as a place of divine compassion, a testimony that even the outcast and forgotten are known by the Lord. The birth of Ishmael. Hagar returned to Abram and Sarai, bearing with her the knowledge that God had seen her pain and given her a future. In time she gave birth to a son, and Abram named him Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when this firstborn son entered the world. Reflection. Genesis 16 reminds us of the consequences of impatience. When we try to force God's promises into our own timing, strife often follows. Yet even in human failure, God shows mercy. Hagar, the servant girl, became the first person in Scripture to name God, and she named him as the God who sees. This chapter is a reminder that no one is overlooked by the Lord, no matter how forgotten they may feel. In the next chapter, Genesis 17, God will once again appear to Abram, but this time He will change Abram's very identity. The covenant will be renewed, and a new name will mark the promise.